She was a bargain at the yearling sale and had few backers at the betting windows. But Flag de Lune reaped major dividends to anyone who crossed her path in the early 1980s. From the first crop of Flag Officer out of the Balance of Power mare Bal de Lune, Flag de Lune was consigned to the 1981 Washington Horse Breeders' Auction. The gavel came down at a paltry $12,000. The winning bidders were named Dwayne Weber, Dick McMurtry, and Wendell McMinimy. How good was Flag de Lune? Well, good enough to win the inaugural running of the $100,000 Longacres Lassie Stakes at odds of 14 to 1 in 1982. Good enough to make the switch to turf and somehow defeat the great champion Royal Heroine in the Grade 1 Ramona Handicap at 12 to 1 in 1984, becoming only the second Washington bred to annex a Grade 1 race. Good enough to score at 8 to 1 in the 1983 Terlingua Stakes at Hollywood Park under the great Bill Shoemaker. Good enough to win sprinting and routing on dirt and on turf, on fast tracks and muddy ones. And good enough to be named 1984 Washington Horse of the Year, ahead of such Washington luminaries as Chum Salmon, Sharper One, and Got You Runnin'. Trainer Neil Knapp described Flag de Lune as a bit immature through the first half of her 2-year-old season, and with knees that needed some time to develop. After scoring a single victory in her first 3 starts, Flag de Lune put it all together on October 3, 1982. She rallied for a 15 to 1 upset on a muddy strip in the Lassie Stakes.
And down the stretch they come with Flag de Lune on the lead by 1 length. Heather Alaroni is second along the rail by 3. Antiva is third, 2.5 lengths. It is Flag de Lune and Heather Alaroni. Antiva intense moment. It is Flag de Lune on the lead of 3. Heather Alaroni second. It's Flag de Lune.
Oh yeah, she was a stakes winner at 2 here. She was a stakes winner at 3. And then she went to California, and she was downright amazing. She was running with, the cream of the crop.
California, however, was where Flag de Lune really showed her stuff. She raced there 8 times in 1983 and 1984, compiling a sparkling record of 3 wins, 3 seconds, and 1/3, racing against the cream of the crop of American turfdom. Few Washington breds have enjoyed a greater 2-month stretch than Flag de Lune fashioned in July and August of 1984. Then came September 9th, with Flag de Lune running one of the storied races in Washington history. John White was present that day at Del Mar.
I was covering the races at Del Mar, Santa Anita, and Hollywood Park in those days for the Daily Racing Form as a writer. My job was to preview stakes races and recap stakes races. So I stopped by Laurie Anderson's barn. I said, "How's Flag de Lune doing?" He said, "Well, I know that Royal Heroine is going to be mighty tough to beat, but is training super, and I think she's going to run well. I think she can hit the board." So I thought, well, that's great. Maybe we can watch a Washington bred hit the board in this Grade 1 race.
In the run for home, Flag de Lune has now given her head, and she sprinted 2 lengths clear. Royal Heroine coming with a delayed run on the outside, but Frank Olivares has snatched the race on Flag de Lune.
She didn't just win the Ramona Handicap, she dominated it, checking home 2.5 lengths ahead of Royal Heroine and becoming only the second Washington bred at that time to capture a Grade 1 race. Pointed to the inaugural Breeders' Cup in Hollywood Park, Flag de Lune fractured a sesamoid in a workout and retired to the breeding shed, where she produced 10 foals, including 7 winners. None of them, however, were as gifted as their mama, a tough and talented mare who is the newest entry into the Washington Thoroughbred Hall of Fame.